Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you all are doing great. Today we are going to have a lesson on tag questions of imperative sentences. So let's get started. Well, before making tag question of imperative sentence, first we should know about what is imperative sentence. The answer is sentences denoting order, command, advice, request, warning, suggestion, proposal are known as imperative sentences. The subject of imperative sentences is always the second person you. So the subject is not generally said or written, but it is understood to both the speaker and the listener. For example, listen to me, don't waste your time, let's do it right now. So you can see here all the sentences are starting with the verb and there is no subject. But we know there is a silent you in front of every sentence and we don't usually write it. But we know that there is the silent you working as the subject. Now, how can I form a tag question? Before forming a tag question, we should know there are two types of imperative sentences. Like the first one is positive meaning imperative sentence and the second one is negative meaning imperative sentence. Well, if you look at the examples, you can see the first one is listen to me is an order and the meaning is positive, right? And the second one is don't waste your time has a negative meaning. And the third one, let's do it right now, it has also a positive meaning. So we have two types of imperative. One is positive meaning and the other is negative meaning imperative sentence. Alright? Now, to form tag question of imperative sentence, we should remember three things. Number one is, if the imperative sentence is in positive, the meaning of the imperative sentence is positive, then we should question or tag the question with will you or won't you. Number two is, in terms of negative meaning imperative sentence, we should attach will you for making tag question. Alright? And the last one is the imperative sentences that start with let's or let us. In those sentences, we should attach shall we. Okay? For example, listen to me, will you? Now if you remember, to make a tag question, we need two things. Number one is an auxiliary verb and the second one is the pronoun of the subject. Here, in imperative sentence, we are taking will as an auxiliary verb. And like I said earlier, the subject of imperative sentence is you, which is silent or absent here. That's why we are taking you as the pronoun. Okay? And you know, listen to me is a positive meaning sentence. Therefore, we can use will you or won't you. But I will suggest to use will you. Alright? The second one is don't waste your time. Will you? Because this sentence is a negative meaning imperative. Okay? Next, let's do it right now. Shall we? Now, I have told you, whenever the sentence starts with let's or let us, we will use shall and the pronoun will be we. Because let's means let us. And if you have let us already, then you know the pronoun of us is we. That's why we are using shall we. Alright? But keep in mind, if there is no let's or let us, the answer or the tag question will be will you. Like in this sentence, let him do it. Will you? Now if you write shall we, then the answer will be incorrect. Why? Because there is no let us or let's in this sentence. Rather, there is let him. So the tag question of let him do it will be will you? Please do remember, we may use can, can't, could, would as the auxiliary verb of making tag question of imperative sentences. But note that with the imperative we cannot use wouldn't or couldn't. Now arises another question. Why don't we usually use those auxiliary verbs like can, could, would? Now, if I want to answer that, it will be a huge discussion. And I don't want to do that for sure. But do remember that these auxiliary verbs depend on the context of the conversation. I mean, whether the tone of the speaker is formal, less formal, casual, or informal. Then again, it's safe and wise to use will you for question tags in all the imperative sentences, unless starting with let's, because in case of let's we use shall we. Now you might question, why should I use tag question after an imperative sentence? Yes, that would be a very good question, as imperative sentence itself means an order, command, request, etc. So what on earth the added tag question actually means here? For you, the answer is, after an imperative sentence, we can consider will you as an equivalent to please, and the tone remains normal. For example, close the door, will you? It sounds like, close the door please. Now look at the second example. Don't smoke here, will you? Seems like, don't smoke here please. Now, by adding the tag will you to the imperative sentence close the door, you are in fact softening the instruction and turning it into a request. And without this, it would sound very much like an order. So the tag has a similar effect to the addition of please, like close the door please, don't smoke here please. Alright? The second thing is, after an imperative sentence, we can consider won't you as an equivalent to less possibility. The tone of the speaker might be serious here. For example, close the door, won't you? In fact, it sounds like a warning. Close the door, won't you? Then, come back to my place for a coffee, won't you? Now it sounds like a serious tone, and the answer might be no. The conversation might be like, come back to my place for a coffee, won't you? No, I'm sorry, I can't. I've got work to do. That means the listener is refusing the speaker's order or request or suggestion. And this is why I said there is less possibility that the listener will follow your instruction. Well everyone, this was all about tag question of imperative sentence, and I'm again telling you, it's safe and wise to use will you for question tags in all the imperative sentences unless starting with let's, and whenever you find let's, you should use shall we. Alright? Well, I have got something for you. Please do these exercises. I guess it won't take more than 5 minutes. And the first 4 sentences are done for you. So complete this and submit it to me. Thank you everyone for your time. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Allah Hafiz.